There's definitely not, this is not just Coke, this is rum and Coke. This is a happy pumpkin mason jar, yeah. Hey YouTube, so today I want to talk about hexes and curses and my thoughts and feelings. Because oh my god, the amount of videos you could watch about hex shaming, and then there's claims that real witches don't hex, and everything else in between. So first off, the disclaimer right on the front. These are just my thoughts and feelings. This is how I feel, this is how I think, this is my ponderings. I'm not even 100% on my direct views on hexing and cursing and witches doing such things. I have no idea how I feel about it entirely. This is just me musing, merely my opinion, so take everything I have to say with a grain of salt. Feel free to disagree or agree in the comments and all that things. This is discussion. It should be a discussion. We should try our best not to shame anybody as best as we can. So, with that, on to my actual thoughts and feelings. And at first, I was very, it's probably why the two things that come up the most with this, especially for Wiccans, not all pagans are Wiccans, but in the Wiccan side of things, this comes up a lot because of either the threefold law, whatever you do will come back to you times 3, kind of like the Wiccan karma idea, and the harm none line of the Wiccan Rede, which is, it is the Wiccan Rede. It's like a 2-word thing. And at first it really drew me to it, and it was a great way to explain to a family and others around me about why, quote-unquote, witches were not a scary thing, or not a, this wasn't a cult, this wasn't a thing that was happening. It was like, no, look, there's like morality laws and stuff in there. But I think what is so weird a lot of times is the idea that you are making your own path. And so every witch has to decide what is good for them. What is their moral compass? And even those two things, the threefold law and harm none, do what you will, they're still guidelines. And that is still very up for interpretation. And it really got me thinking about, especially with these things like Hex Trump and all the stuff going around on that side of things, what are my real feelings about the whole idea of hexing someone and cursing someone, and would I ever do it? And part of it has to do is how we see the world, I guess, and what is our real effect on other people. Some people, I think, have a great vitality and ability to really go out and affect the world around them, whether through punishment or encouragement, either or, like just by voicing their opinion and being who they are and going out and doing these things. They have a great way to change the world and a great way to guide. And they have this affinity to change people's minds and to go out there and to try to experience the world and see as much as they can and go through that. And I have to believe, at least from my viewpoint, that's how I see people who hex or curse in a lot of ways. These are people who honestly believe that if they do something, they can change or affect other people's behavior. Cursing and hexing in a way is just a punishment, is a way to bring back around, to give that, if you believe in karma, the karmic nudge in the right direction. Or the idea that you harmed me or you did this to me, and for some reason you are not realizing it, that your actions are causing harm to others. Maybe you need a more direct effect of things that happen to you. You kind of hear it over and over and over again in the political sphere, specifically in America right now. I'm not entirely up on everything else in the world, but people finally come around to a side of things. Currently, the first thing that comes to mind is the opioid crisis that's happening in America right now. We're having a lot of problems with with opioids and drug abuse, and people falling prey to these addictions and this disease. And a lot of people basically went to, it's like, well, just don't do drugs. Like, who are these people? They're idiots for doing it. And until it happens to them or to their family member, someone they know, they don't really quite understand why this is such a crisis and why we need to help these people, type of deal. So until something happens to them, someone maybe not come to a realization of what they're doing in the world. So in that case, should you hex somebody? Should you go out and curse or hex them in a way to get them to see what the hell their actual actions are affecting people like? Like, is that a thing that you should do? And I don't necessarily think that's from an immoral place. If anything, that's from a more moral place. It's from you are causing direct outwardly harm to the rest of the world, and possibly to me, and so I'm going to correct that action in the best way I see fit. With either a hex, which I believe from my studies has been a little more of a short-term thing, versus a curse, which is like, that shit ain't letting go type of deal. And then there's the other side of it, which is, who are you to have any right of punishment-wise? Like, that is not on you, it's on the universe. But if we've, which I definitely see, I definitely don't know of any point in time where I would curse or hex somebody, because I do very feel much of the, it's none of my, like, who am I to take on the idea of jury, judge, and executioner, I guess, in that sense, of who am I to judge a person and give you a punishment based on that. Can I honestly say that I'm looking at you with 100% lack of bias? Yes, kitty. Oh my goodness. Who am I to look at you that way and say, yeah, no, I know exactly what you deserve, and what I can look at your life in that manner. So that's another thing that comes to mind. Who am I to judge anybody? But if no one judges anybody, if no one ever steps up and says, no, that's wrong, that's not correct in our world, then, like, we would have chaos. Things would be crazy. We have laws and judges who do the judging. For that very reason. They are the people who take that on. So there are, I'm sure, people in the world who can say, no, I'm going to take that on. I will take it and put this magic out there and put this intention out there to hopefully correct this person's behavior. So it doesn't happen again. So there is some retribution, revenge in some sense, and or just a correction so that there's no further harm out into the world, by putting harm out into the world. Especially with, a lot of times, our justice system, and every day it seems a lot of times where the universe isn't holding up its half, if you believe in the karma and the idea of justice, and that this world should correct itself and the scales should even out. I'm not necessarily of that belief, but I could see where people could look at it and go, well, no, it's not being adjusted, so maybe I need to give it a shove to adjust. And then there's this whole concept of energy use with these things, which really, I think, comes back to, I guess for me, why I don't feel curious or called to ever hex or curse anybody. Not that I've never been wronged by anybody, because that is very, very untrue. Definitely have some people who I would prefer to never see again, type of deal. But I don't think I would even, like, I am of the mind that the best revenge is success. And by going out and doing exactly what you want to do, regardless of whether a person would approve or disapprove. And that whole idea of, like, putting your energy out there to harm somebody else. Kellyanne Maddox talked a lot about, in some of her curse and hexes videos that she talked about before, about how she really takes that energy in and would rather put it to herself, and really use that as something palpable for her own self-improvement, which is definitely something that I resonate with a lot. The idea that if I'm going to be that pissed off and angry at you, that I feel like I need to take all that energy and lash at you in a way to either correct your behavior or just for a little bit of revenge in the moment. I would much rather have that energy be used towards me. And in that, in some respects, I see it as kind of a selfish standpoint a bit, which I don't mind claiming. Like, I am selfish enough to know that I don't want to curse anybody. I don't want to have you mix into with my energy. I don't want to give you any more of my attention or time. And so I think it's kind of a really selfless thing in some ways where people are hexing and cursing when they're like, it's not, because in some ways I think it's like it's a selfish thing. Other people look at it as like, oh, you're taking out revenge. Like, you're also centered on yourself, that you don't think of how that could affect other people around them or you or anything else like that, right? But I think a lot of ways it's also almost really selfless, because you are taking your energy and putting it towards someone else in a very corrective manner. And like hexes and curses, just from the sound of them and from my mere feeling, I don't believe that would take a small amount of energy. I believe that would be a real big, like, undertaking and just a real draining experience to hex or curse somebody. So in order, you are committing a lot of your energy to that person. So that in itself is kind of a selfless act, which is an interesting thing to consider as well. But overall, I just don't ever see myself doing it. Again, I don't necessarily judge anybody for doing it. I won't fully say I wouldn't judge, because everyone has their reasons. If you are going after somebody who, like, horribly wronged you, then I can't necessarily say that you're doing something wrong. But if you're hexing someone over something petty, it's like, really? Is that really the best way to spend your time? But I don't know anyone else's situation, so I'm not going to sit here, like, if I don't feel comfortable enough to judge somebody to hex them, then I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm comfortable enough to judge somebody for hexing. It doesn't make me less of a witch for thinking that. It's just that I go about it differently. That's just how my life works. And I'm not going to judge anyone else on their path if they feel that suddenly hexing or cursing somebody would be of use to them. That's something that they want to incorporate into their witchcraft and their path. That's on them. So, consequences and rewards and all. So anyway, I hope y'all are having a great YouTuber. More and more videos, since I had to take a little break with travel being stupid and being stuck. And then on top of it, life in general being annoying. So I hope you guys are having a great October. I hope you're oh so excited for Samhain as I am. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.